welcome to Cinema. I'm Amani. Today we're reviewing The Life Coach. Now, something I want to get out of the way is that this film is actually directed by my mom, Patricia, and also the fact that this is sort of based on my grandpa's story, but with a fictional twist. And it's about this renowned life coach and author named Gary Johnson, who struggles with his traumatic past of his father. And also a lot of aspects of the movie are related to the theme of trying to find personal connection with others. And I think that is a very interesting character-driven story. And also something fascinating about this too is that sometimes the movie knows what the characters want and what the story itself wants. And as for the humor, for the most part, it does land because of the character's delivery and also some of the funny situations as well. And the film can also be pretty self-aware at times too, although there are a few jokes where the characters themselves are trying a bit too hard to be funny, although there are also some subversive jokes that I think work too. Then we're also going to have to ask the big question, how do I think of my own performance? And I would say for my performance, the experience was kind of fascinating because as you will probably know who I am and how I would act, this is a very unique role because I talk a lot, as you can see, although in this movie I don't talk at all, which was subversive. And if I would treat my own acting skills, I will say there are a few strange moments where my mouth is open in the movie, although that is just because of the braces I have right here. And Gary Johnson also has a great performance from Kosa. I also find that Jennifer nearly stole the show in the movie, as she's not only a good love interest, but also pretty well executed into the story. While there are a few predictable moments related to how Lorraine is handled in the movie, I find that she also has some funny moments too, and also her chemistry with Gary was consistently engaging throughout the movie, and even some comedic moments between them would land as well. Then we have Gary's father, which is sort of the main villain of the movie despite not actually being seen physically and just in the flashbacks, but he actually is pretty significant. And then for Leon, we do have the third act breakup trope, but in a different way because it's in the beginning of the movie where Gary would fire Leon. And while I knew they would probably get back together, the way it is sort of handled, it has a lot of irony too, because Leon was getting too personal with Gary in this situation by bringing Jennifer to his house to add more inspiration. But then again, we also have to acknowledge that Leon and Gary have a very close relationship. So ultimately, their decision to get back together was actually a choice that does make a lot of sense. My only problem with the use of this trope is with the ending. And I like how the ending sort of has visual storytelling on Lorraine forgiving Gary at the end, although I will say it was a bit of an easy fix though, but overall the pacing of the movie made it consistently entertaining. But then for the visual effects, since this is my mother's first movie, it's actually even more impressive because the lighting is very nice and vibrant throughout the whole movie, and it just has this pleasant feeling to it. And also, there are some moments, especially in the moment with the pictures, that also added a lot of vibrancy to the film's colors. The cinematography is also pretty good at times too, especially when Gary is exercising or during the dance scene with Gary and Jennifer too. Although my only problem with the visuals is that when Gary gets shot in one of the scenes, it didn't show any instances of fire. Although since it is just a flashback, I think it might get a pass in some ways. And then for the music, for the most part, it has a unique combination of Afro beats, Afro pop, and binaural beats. And I think that the movie's soundtrack is overall very memorable because of its variety. In fact, the main theme with Gary and Lorraine is actually playing in my head right now. That also shows how memorable the film is in terms of music, especially in the part where Gary attempts suicide. I like the movie's mix of genres in there. And then the song Keep Sailing was really catchy during the credits. And then the song Feeling You Tonight with Gary and Jennifer does actually have pretty good lyrics, although it was slightly out of tune just a bit. But aside from that, the music is fantastic. And then for the sound design, it is very effective throughout the movie. I especially liked how in the beginning of the film, especially in the opening credits, there's not really any music, but rather just a binaural synthetic bass, and also sounds of the crowd clapping and cheering, which also adds uncertainty but also some upliftment. And when the music actually does play for the first time in the movie, it really adds a lot of power to it. I also think that some of the sounds, especially with a gunshot in that scene, despite not looking visually impressive, the sound design was really effective there. And overall, I would give the film a 9 out of 10. Also, I'd like to tell you that you should tell everyone you know, not just about this video, but also about the movie as well. So not only for marketing purposes, but because it actually has very fantastic themes based on mental health, and I think you'll really enjoy it. And I hope you also enjoy this review, and to remember that everything is cinema, and also to keep sailing always.